Okay, I think we are good. Hello and welcome, everybody. I'm sure we'll have people in and out, but welcome to Podcast Now. I am Alex, and I am joined by I promised a guest, and boy, am I going to deliver. I have XpectoGO here, an incredible creator, and one that you have to think of when you think of Hogwarts Legacy. Otherwise, you're doing something wrong. We announced this. We had loads and loads of people that were very excited, like you and me. A lot of people didn't know like we ever even knew each other.
No.
So it's good that we're here. So I want to hand it over to you to just kind of talk about your channel a little bit. They can of course click it and subscribe if they're not already. It's in the description. But tell anybody who doesn't know you, maybe tell them a little bit about your channel and whatnot.
Well, first of all, thanks, Alex, for inviting me. Retro, so many of you guys have been like inspirations for me. The consistency and just the sheer amount of content you guys are putting out. I'm just like, yo, that's what I'm trying to be at. So thanks for having me on your platform. But my name is James. I'm one half of XpectoGO, bringing you guys the latest and greatest in Hogwarts Legacy content. And I mean, it's just that covering Hogwarts Legacy hard. We previously, when we started our channel back in like 2018, we started covering Wizards Unite, Harry Potter Wizards Unite, another Portkey Games title. And fortunately, that game ended at the beginning of this year. And so we kind of adjusted and just went full tilt. We always were going to cover this, but fortunately, we're just covering one game instead of two. But nonetheless, we do live streams every Wednesday, Wizarding Wednesdays. Those are always fun, and just talking about the game as a fan. So those are good. And then, of course, content topics that we all cover. Retro, myself, Ben, you, Hogwarts Legacy Explained. There's so many other great cats out there. So we're all covering the same topics most of the time, and just putting our spin and I guess personalities on it. So that's a little bit about myself.
Well, and what I've even noticed since the state of play, I mean, you guys, specifically you, I mean, you'll find stuff in these state of plays, these symbols and all this stuff. I mean, I've been called out. I know my Harry Potter stuff, but sometimes it gets a little foggy, but I would never even try to do the detective work, really, is what you do. And you do an amazing job. You found stuff on Amazon in terms of, I think you were the person who did that.
Yeah.
So, but you're right. I mean, we're all in this together. I think we have, like I said to you even before I think we got on, like a lot of people didn't know we know each other, but we do. And, I think it's good that we all have this kind of personality where we all gel. You had us do the predictions thing, which I thought was a lot of, and I'm ready to win it, by the way.
Oh my gosh, December 6th. I'm just like looking at the date. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna have to pay like 3 content creators, buy 3 wands.
I thought I'd be different. I thought mine would be a little like, because I like to be a little risky, but then everybody else just picked the same thing. I guess it's not so risky. But why don't we start with, and we can definitely get to the release date. And of course, guys, for anybody asking questions, I mean, ask away. We see you, but we'll get to things here and there. If you guys want to do a super chat to get to the the top of the line or whatever, but we're gonna kind of bounce things back and forth, and we'll take questions as we go. We'll talk about the release date, but I want to talk about Quidditch first, right? Because our man Retro, he broke the news. I want sources. How does he get sources? But well, what do you think? I made a video talking about, I'm okay with it, but it is disappointing. I mean, factually to me, it's disappointing, But what do you think about, I guess maybe where were you on Quidditch before today? And then now what do you think about it now?
Honestly, I'm like most of you guys, like everybody. Hearing the news, if true, kind of was disappointing. Not surprising though, but disappointed nonetheless, because this game seems to be so massive in scale and features and every aspect of the Wizarding world, and especially storyline wise, Quidditch might have taken that aspect away or kind of watered it down because we would have been doing that. So I understand it, disappointed, but understand nonetheless. And playing Magic Awakens beta currently right now, and how Quidditch is so sick on that. I'm just like, man, with the realism of Hogwarts Legacy, that would have been nice. Hoping DLC possibly in the future, or a separate game entirely like the World Cup, but I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, same. I mean, I think of it as you can only do so much. Troy has said that too, right? That you can only have so much in this game. And I think about it from like an EA Sports perspective where it's like, think of Madden, FIFA, and like it's detailed. I mean, they're a little lazy with the, I mean, they come out every year, but it takes a lot of work, I would imagine, to program AI. And you're already doing that with combat and all this stuff and people walking around the castle. But you basically would have to create a separate, a separate game, a whole way of these people thinking, on their brooms. And I can imagine that would be very hard. And they probably thought of it in the beginning, like, all right, do we want to, like you said, do you want to spend so much time on this? Because if we do Quidditch, we're not going to have God knows how much stuff, right?
Yep.
And that's what I think they probably did very early on, and they did. The one thing I will take a jab that I'm not a fan of is, like, it is right in front of our faces. Like, they do keep teasing it. And if Retro's right, like, maybe we'll see them playing Quidditch, but then we can't. So that it's not, like, insulting, but it's like, I don't know if you needed to have made it like this. Because it's only going to make us want to play it more.
The what is it? The ASMR video had the padlock or whatever with the Quidditch store in Hogsmeade. I was just like, oh, we gotta have it. Like, why do we need the store? Let's just upgrade our brooms or something. Like, I was just like, come on. So no, I get it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. It's and it's fun and it makes sense, because if you're not gonna do Quidditch, you still do need to make it part of the world. Otherwise, you have lore concerns you'll have with people. So I get it, but having that state of play with the girl that swoops up, on her. I mean, that's like so much in our face, and then to tell us that, to tell us we're not going to do it.
I know.
But like you said, I think a spin-off game would be fine.
I think that's the. I think that might be our flying.
Yeah, the teacher. Yeah.
I think that might be her, but yeah, still, like, she looks like she's in Quidditch garb. So just like, okay, I just need that in yellow as a Hufflepuff, and I'm good. Like, let's go.
But yeah, I mean, I would take a spin-off game, and I think Troy mentioned it too, and it's the first time we've really, I mean, they have it on their website and stuff, but the way he talks, I do get the sense, like, they, besides the cancelization stuff going on online, I get the sense they probably do want to make a, like what Marvel is doing where they have Guardians, they have Marvel's Avengers, and you have Midnight Suns. You could do that with Wizarding World easily.
Yeah.
You could have a Gwent game that's just Wizard's Chess, and there's a game that's $20.
True.
So I really think they want to do that. Will they be allowed to with the media? We'll see. But I think that's what the plan probably is with the property of,
For sure. And like Porky Games, you can just tell they're testing it out.
Yeah.
Again, like Hogwarts Mystery, I think was their first game underneath their title.
Yeah.
And then you call it Wizards Unite, and now Magic Awakening coming out, and Hogwarts Legacy, obviously. So all four are very distinct, different games. And so, even Puzzles and Spells, I always forget about that one.
Yeah.
So you can do things along those lines in regards to having a separate title entirely for stuff like that. I would like an Ilvermorny title, though, to be honest. But I mean, I would be cool with it just like playing that casually on my phone.
Just something, some small little. You get a game a year. One of it's Gwent, one like a Gwent type. One of it's flying. Quidditch. So I think that's a possibility. Of course, I want a Hogwarts Legacy 2 because I think too far ahead. But let me ask you, because I don't want to throw you into controversy, and I don't know how much you talk about it, but what do you think of the? It's a big thing for me. I love going after game journalists. You don't have to, but what do you think of that element of people? How they act online with Troy, that whole canceling thing.
Yeah. Honestly, you can't avoid it. It's just something that's going to happen. You're either going to have people who like it or don't like it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And, there's reasons that are hidden because for whatever reason, And so, like, I know with us, our logo is a Patronus, and we always try to promote positivity and happiness because that is how you form a Patronus. We try to create a space where we you can dodge all that and just come hang out with us and just get nerdy and talk all things. Yeah. So like whenever I see it, I just scroll on down and keep moving.
No, I respect that a ton about you. I go into it. I try to tackle it head on, and that'll get me into trouble one day. But no, I really do respect. Because not everything has to be a battle or a war.
Right.
I mean, it's going to keep happening. I'm more than happy to call them losers all day long. But I know I 1,000. That's what I don't want to throw you into controversy when I know because you do take a very different approach that I think is more than valid and kind of like a breath of fresh air, because you're right. You can just escape to yours. I bring it into mine. But it's something that's inescapable. The issue with me is it's going to get worse. Like over these it's going to get so bad.
Especially once it gets closer to release. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because there's going to be, to me, I think we're going to have sites that literally are going to say, we are not going to review this game. This could be one of the, I don't even know any other games that do that. But I really do think a site like a Kotaku says a mission statement, and they say, we will not be reviewing this game. We will not. Because there's already sites that are refusing to write articles on it. So I just think,
it's part of the territory with gaming and stuff of late and stuff. And you can tell WB Avalanche is aware. You can tell the creators are aware of this, the devs. And I kind of feel bad for them because they're just trying to put out this. You can tell this is a passion project for them.
Oh, yeah.
You can tell they're invested in this. They are fellow Wizarding World nerds like us, you know what I'm saying, who happen to make games. And so I feel bad for them because they're like, you don't even know what we're making yet. You haven't even played it. And so I always err on the side of I deal with it being as a minority, being all of that stuff. So I'm just like, whenever I have a platform, whether it's teaching, coaching, because I coach football, or with my kids and stuff, I try to create a place separate because you're going to run into stuff like that. And so if that can be a place for people who might not want to engage, because we need cats like you as well, Alex, who's going to, call out some people and use their platform, for truth in their own way. So, I think it's two-sided coin when it comes to stuff like that. You need one aspect, you need the other, but that's just ours.
I respect the heck out of that. Well, and you bring up how you view the teams. Let me ask you some of the questions there. How do you? Because we've heard that on their website. Troy has talked about just how passionate. So do you? I don't want to, when I say do you buy it, I'm not saying they're trying to falsely sell it, but do you buy that they really are this very passionate? Because I do. I buy they're just a very passionate team that is trying to do the best by the fans, which you don't get in gaming all that often, honestly.
Right. No, so going back, we covered, again, Harry Potter Wizards Unite for a couple of years, and we had the privilege of having an NDA with them. Nice. And so we kind of got to know a couple of cast behind the scenes with Niantic and with Warner Brothers. Yeah. And I'm not necessarily saying they cross over. What I'm saying is these companies do a great job of bringing in talented people to work on their projects, but also passionate people. Yeah. Because you need the talent, but you also need the passion, because you can run into some road bumps, and you need that passion to help you get over it, because you're committed not so much to a paycheck, but to a project, a title, or something you're very passionate about. So that being said, I 100% buy the fandom. I'm like, it was cool during the State of Play. You can see their Hogwarts houses with their names and stuff. And I think even some of them were even wearing their house colors. I think I saw some black, some blue from, I think it was Alan 2 or whatever. So, I totally buy it. And I think that's what's exciting. And you're kind of seeing that from Chandler. Yeah. Oh, yeah. As a community manager with him, and him being a Slytherin, which is fine. That's fine. But
no big deal.
You could tell they're just trying to do the title justice, I think, and just getting the right people for that.
Yeah, no, and it's refreshing to see that. And I think, the gaming industry is a lot better, at least right now, than like a Hollywood. Hollywood really gives me the vibes that they don't care. Gaming, you find pockets, and you find developers that sometimes say weird stuff. Yeah. But they really come across like they're hard at work. If they miss something or leave something out of the game, it's not because of a lack of trying or care or remember. You know what I mean? It's a time management thing, really. So I just get that from them, and it really is refreshing, because I think it would be different if we have this kind of we're not toxic, but you have the toxicity online on this game, and then if they acted differently towards us, I think that would kind of shake it. So the fact of they're dealing with a lot of adversity that most games don't have to deal with the garbage, that they put up with. And they still come across very, how many people would have a Troy he was on your live stream during the State of Play? How many companies do that, right?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
Not a lot, yeah. So I mean, again, it speaks to just the character and the type of people there. Chandler was just in our live stream this past week.
Oh,
We
nice.
were trying to get some information out of him, but I was like, James, you're not going to drop any information in chat during the live stream. Like, come on, you're not even that big of a platform. Like, come on. But we still like everybody.
He would be a
us.
great guy to talk to, I think, when it's all done. Like when he's able to talk just because he comes in from, I think, PlayStation Lifestyle or something. He was a PlayStation site, and he was a managing editor or something, and he comes in. I just want to know, like, what's that like, that kind of jump from being a journalist, which is funny. I'm talking about game, but he seems like a good one. I bag on them. But, and then he goes in, and he just seems like this cool guy who gets it. And so far so good. We'll see. The next patch is important. How the communication, if there's adversity in terms of, say, if there's like bugs day one, how they talk to us after, that's important, right? How you kind of present. So there's hurdles that they'll have to clear. But so far so good in my view of him specifically.
And that was my question for a community manager also for this type of game, because I was like, if there's a community manager, does that mean we're getting some online features that they would have to announce through him to communicate with the community? And so, like, DLC, I thought multiplayer, obviously, and some other aspects for the state of play. But it really has me thinking, once the game is released, how big a deal he will be and what kind of changes or additions they might add based off of community feedback and what he's able to communicate and what WB Avalanche is actually able to do through that communication.
Yeah, so he's the guy, I would imagine, when reviews hit or when like controversies have, he's the guy who's going to have to speak to it. Game is out, people like it, people don't like it. He's going to be the guy. And then afterwards, do you have DLC planned? He'd be it. What about a second game? What's the team up to? He's that guy. And we have already had kind of hints in the PlayStation blog that it seems, as long as and I said this, I tried to get it out of Troy, I failed. As long as the game sells, I really do think 2 is a greenlit immediately. I believe it.
Yeah, I mean, they said it. They said it at the beginning. Like, if there's enough interest, like, expect more stuff down the line. Like, that's on the blog. So they are hoping for success, just like all of us covering the game and wanting to play the game, because, if it's what is going to be what we think is going to be, then, I mean, a second, third title, whatever, however they go based on the storyline and aspects of the game, I mean, is inevitable if successful. And you talked about the success with the views on the trailer. I saw your video, that milestone. Like, that was crazy.
It's about nailing the landing at this point, and it's as long as they are okay dealing with more controversy, because it's not going to stop. You can make many more. I mean, this is going to be I keep saying it's going to be a big game. These sites, I don't really think get it. It's going to be gigantic. I mean, this is getting people that read the books, that don't play game. I mean, that's just how that's how Harry Potter games, I think, have historically, like, Chamber of Secrets, these games that some of them are good, some of them aren't good, but like average gamers, some of them kind of skip over it. It's really the Harry Potter diehards that are, what I mean? So it's these are special kind of games to people. But speaking of that, I want to discuss with you, on your channel, we have the release date predictions, but has your opinion wavered? What are you thinking for the release date? Maybe when do you think it'll get announced, the actual date?
Ooh, okay, so that's loaded. So that's 2 questions. Okay, I'll go with the easier one, release date. I think I said it in the video on our whole group collab. I agreed with the December 6th one date, strictly because early November is too close to Gotham Knights. And this was before we even knew about God of War. But I knew WB wanted to have that space. And so I was like, okay, late November maybe, but late November doesn't make sense because, in my opinion, cats are coming off of the Thanksgiving holiday, and they're coming right into that week during Cyber Monday, and launching a game that doesn't feel right. Maybe they need a week to recoup and get ready before that following week, which is December 6th. So I agree with December 6th in regards to a release date. I still think it's coming out this year. A lot of people still don't, but I do. But in regards to release date announcement, again, after God of War, everybody's like, okay, when are we going to get ours?
Hogwarts is the last one, really.
I I was sold on the PlayStation Showcase,
Same.
which is usually around beginning or even middle of September,
Yeah.
and that's still later this summer, as
Yeah.
Chandler tweeted a couple of months
I
ago.
classify it, and people say that September. It's like September is still summer to them.
Yep, yep,
Same.
yep.
It's why I got a little worried with holiday, because holiday can mean some stuff.
A
Winter,
lot.
winter is the scary one though, because when you say winter, that
Yeah.
literally can go through March.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
happened. Kingdom Hearts as my prime. I always use Kingdom Hearts both
don't
times,
remind
3
me.
and Remind. Tetsuya Nomura said winter, and it came out the last day of January. So winter does not mean Christmas, which I think people kind of associate that, like once you
Yeah.
get into January. But
Yeah.
so winter's scary. Holiday is better for wording.
Yeah, it's better worded. I know the German translation had winter, so I was like,
Oh, did it really?
yeah.
Oh,
Somebody
no.
had posted in one of our videos about it.
Wow.
And they're like, well, it's actually winter in the German translation. I was like,
Wasn't
but I
it?
s-
Do you know
yeah.
the story? What was the thing with the late 1800s? And wasn't that changed in some other trailer? Do you remember that? Remember the beginning of the very first
Ooh,
trailer?
yes. So it wasn't.
I don't remember like the.
They changed. A lot of people haven't talked about this. They changed some stuff
Oh yeah.
between that first reveal trailer and this one.
Yeah.
And I think storyline wise was the big change. Not so much aesthetically, but the storyline wise and where they were going. I do vaguely remember that. 'Cause
I feel
God,
like
that
there's
2 years ago.
controversy of like, well, is it late 1800s? Because one of them maybe said mid or just 1800s in general. I think one didn't have late on it.
No, I think it was just 1800s.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it was 1800s. So that was a big. That's 100 years. Like,
That's
it's
a
like,
big range.
that's a huge range. But in regards to the
But-
release announcement, we got Gamescom coming up. That's actually before possibly the showcase.
Yeah.
Which is I think August 24th or somewhere
Yeah, that
along
last
those lines.
week of August.
Yeah. So, and WB is confirmed to be there, WB Games. So we could see something there, but I hope the announcement comes before. That's something they can just do online. They don't
Yeah.
really have to do an event. So, I'll say, I hope August. I
Yeah.
hope August. I don't think July. We'll get the ASMR, I think, next week, summer ASMR. And then we'll get release day announcement in August, and then something cool, hopefully for Back to Hogwarts Day or something, September 1st.
Yeah. That's the thing with me, because I've debated Gamescom versus Showcase, but then you have you'd imagine you have Return to Hogwarts Day in the middle of the two.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you do something if you don't do it at Gamescom? If your plan is for the Showcase, then you're skipping Return to Hogwarts. But Return to Hogwarts Day makes so much sense to do something.
So much sense,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, you could literally post that could be your day, because you could say, historically this is the day people go back, and here's the day you get to go.
Yep.
It's easy as that,
It's so, and the thing is, they do such a good job, Wizarding World, with promoting it. And
Oh,
hyping
yeah.
it up.
Oh, yeah.
They
There's
bring
live
down
stream-
all the-
Yeah.
Yes, live streams, old actors, all
Yeah.
of that. Like, it's an event, so
Yeah.
it'd be cool. 'Cause
Yeah.
Wizarding World is part of the titles that come across for the State of Play, anything. Wizarding World,
Yeah.
Portkey Games, WB Avalanche, all of them. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't wait. When it gets to this August, September, because once that's done, you have the October, November. I mean, it's just a race.
wait.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's a race to the finish, though. I think they will be very transparent and very vocal in terms
Yeah.
of just showing stuff. So those are going to be some absolutely amazing, hopefully, amazing months. How do you? Well, let me ask you this. So, and because we've all been doing this for a long time. What was? And I don't think I've heard you say it, at least to me. What was your kind of feeling when that first trailer 2 years ago? What was that? And then what was your kind of feeling once we started to know it's going to be at that State of Play, and we got to see it for our, like, what was the emotions for you?
Oh man. I remember it. Literally, the reveal trailer happened during a Wizarding Wednesday, and it was so funny. We were live, and chat was blowing up. They were like, "James, Sue, there's a Harry Potter game coming." I was like, "Wait, what?" So we actually like switched over and was watching it with chat.
Oh my
and
god!
it was just OMG, because it wasn't on our radar. We were again heavy into Wizards Unite, and so we were just like any game that's announced, we're like, okay, cool. So this was a complete shock, and like you hear the music at the beginning, and the narration, and like literally like goosebumps, goosebumps galore when that happened. And so you see, again, this title is a game that we all hoped for when we started reading the books. We always followed Harry's journey, and even some of the old Harry Potter games, you're like, it's still about Harry. It's still about him. But to have our own adventure, and then the end line is live the unwritten, I'm just like, oh my gosh, they nailed it, and I cannot wait for this game. That was me. So then fast forward to the state of play, and you hear there's going to be 14 minutes of gameplay plus an additional 8 or so minutes of just dev stuff. I'm just like, what are we about to see? Like, I was like, I thought we were going to get a release date, stuff. But
I was a little shaken when they didn't do. I was like, what? I remember screaming out loud. I was like, I can't believe you didn't give the date. I get it in retrospect. I get it, and that's a long time, and well, I mean, they didn't know. Starfield didn't do its thing. I mean, you run risks when you announce a game. That's why my golden rule, I've said it for years, like 2 months, at least 2. 2 months is the least you can do from when a game gets announced for the date to when the date actually happens. Is 2 months, and then you can go backwards 3, 4, 5. God of War just did it, but you're never gonna get, like, God of War would never have gone into October without a date and then announcing it for November, because that's and that's just not how gaming, they just don't do it. So I was hoping for it, and I guess in a way, and that's, I get it, people that are still worried, I get it, because that's it's not like they've, for all the stuff that they've done good, I mean, that like 15 months of silence is like PTSD for a lot of people.
Huge,
So I get the not trusting, or not even not trusting, but if you don't see something, worry. If you don't see something, well, all of a sudden you can think, well, what could be happening? They did it to them. I'll take the jab at them with that. They did it to themselves with that.
And I think the uncertainty through, what was it, 2021, because we got the reveal September 2020, and then they announced the delay, like I think it was that January 2021. That kind of just took a lot of people's took the wind out of a lot of people's sails. It really did. And so, like, I mean, us as content creators, we were just grabbing at any rumor, if somebody said Hogwarts Legacy video, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I mean, it was tough, and that's why my approach this year was just like, especially since the state of play, because they've been consistent, not so much with new stuff, but just posting, just sharing stuff, whether it's replays from the state of play, I don't care. They're active. And I was like, remember those 15 months and what we're getting right now. A couple of months to get a release date and a couple of months for an actual release, we're good. Like, just remember how it was.
100%. I mean, this is what I think people would have been fine with during that time. And maybe they think right now, like, oh, well, you're not giving a lot of news. I mean, this is 100% what I would have taken and what I would have expected during that time if things were normal.
And we're still getting new stuff from the state of play, i.e. the HUD that just came out of nowhere.
It's the gift that keeps on. And they'll drop things, even the customization with the heads. I mean, that's a 12-second video. Not that many people really see it, and yet it's new.
Huge.
It's huge. It's literally gigantic.
It's huge, and I mean, then the badges, the ASMR, which I didn't know I needed, but now I want more. I mean, the immersion trailer with PlayStation, kind of showing how it will interact with your PS5, like all of that is something, and it shows they have a plan when it comes to just promoting the game and keeping the community excited about the title that's coming later this year. And I think, again, after the state of play, they've done a good job. Chandler will tweet something every now and then, and it's funny. I mean, we get glitches and bugs of the Centaur and then of Sebastian going into the top of the cave. Like, I mean, all of that is something and is new. And heck, I made a Merlin theory video out of that one, So, like, I mean, it's content and it's stuff that will carry through until the next announcement. So can you imagine the next announcement? That's definitely going to carry us through to the release date. I mean, to the actual release. This is what, 3-4 months after the fact now? So
yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, the next thing we get, like I said, is it's the start of the end, which is kind of like insane because we really will. I really think we'll see dialogue and dialogue choices. We'll probably see more combat. We'd see the characters. We may see, and there'll be leaks too. There'll be leaks and rumors and stuff that happen, and then we'll get our hands on it. And I mean, it's just gonna happen so fast. It's actually again like going back to that first emotion that we had. I mean, it's nuts that we're even here. That it's been, I mean, that we've gone on this journey. It's crazy. And to your point, like you said with them on Twitter, I feel like it actually takes quite a large amount of guts to post glitches, especially like now. I've been You have like Battlefield, you see the Battlefield glitches, and those aren't funny anymore. Those are insulting to people, But these guys, I mean, now they do run a risk because if the game comes out a buggy mess,
you're right.
Then it's like, well, you were joking about it months before, and you didn't get the game ready. So that you do have a risk there. I don't think it'll be an issue, but you do have a risk. But I respect it. Though.
I think them showing it means, hey, we're working on it.
Yeah.
This is again part of the territory.
Yeah.
These are glitches. Let's have some fun with this because silence for 15 months.
Yeah.
Didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. So them showing that, hey, here's a little peek behind the curtain in regards to what we're doing and what we're trying to do. I mean, rogue physics and gifts and all this other stuff. Like they are communicating, and that is the big thing, especially with a lot of games, because you don't have that. Whether it's showing the glitches or just communicating, like, hey, this is what you can expect. And other WB Games accounts are sharing the same stuff, just differently.
Yeah.
So it's not so much a coordinated. It's just, hey, talk to the marketing. Let's make a WB. Let's make a Hogwarts Legacy post. All right, you can do your thing over at the UK thing, and we'll do our thing over here. And like you see it. And so, yeah, I mean, like, I'm literally going to be shaking.
Me too.
Because I was when the State of Play happened. And I'm literally going to be shaking when I get that copy, when I turn the game on. Like, I mean, how about you, like, Alex? Like, I mean, you've been covering this amongst other games. So I don't know if you've become numb to this type of, like, development process or what.
Yeah, I still think I get it. I watched this was before, so back in 2020 was before I hit 50K, so I didn't show my face. So I didn't do co-streams. So I was watching it on the TV, and I had my laptop, and I was shaking. I was like, I can't believe and I think there was a hint the day before they changed their banner on Twitter. I'm pretty sure that was the hint that gave it away. So I knew it was coming. And then as soon as I saw it, I was like, I can't believe this game that's been rumored for another 2 years. I can't believe it's finally in front of me. And then, just kind of I don't think I've been numb to it, even though I cover a lot of games. Like same with you. I mean, I had emotion. I think and we're real people, right? We have emotion during that State of Play. I was shaking. And there were things I wanted to see that I didn't see that I was kind of vocal on, that I was like, I wish they would have done it. Yeah. But I cannot wait. I also hope they respect these creators of us. It'd be nice for early if some of us, just throwing that out there. Don't want to come across as greedy, but gotta take my shot.
I'm just saying, we've been hitting it hard in promoting your product. I mean, it doesn't cost you guys anything, just throw us a copy, digital or physical.
Well, and that's the thing. I think talking to Troy, I feel like I've not necessarily gotten it out of him, but I've just like assumed from him, like they really, not to stroke our egos, but they respect us. The people making the game, like they respect the fans. They respect the fans a ton. That's literally why they're doing it. But they really respect the detective work and the theories and the list videos. I mean, they watch. They watch yours. They watch mine.
Yeah.
Even when I asked him, like, do you think they would have been mad that, in that State of Play, like it gave the year 1890, and I feel like I feel like if I was them, I maybe would be like, man, I didn't want them to notice that, or maybe that was a mistake. But Troy had said, like, no, that's fine. Like if it's in the trailer, it's something that they're ready for people to discover it if they discover it. When I asked them about that leak in 2018, that was different. That was something they did not want people to see that. But again, that's a refreshing, just a breath of fresh air where it's like they don't care if. I kind of got worried when because you had seen it, and I think you sent it to me on Twitter when the pre-order, the editions, like that's kind of going into their site and doing some stuff. And it's like, how do they take that? I don't
Yeah.
think they care. I think they kind of like it. You know?
And you can tell that's outside of their realm. You
Yeah.
know, they coordinate obviously with the overarching authority, whether it's Portkey or WB or even Wizarding World in general. But they get inside editions to do the books and other
Yeah.
people. I don't think that's WB Avalanche. They're
Right.
focusing just on the gameplay aspects. As we got a super chat.
I was gonna say I was gonna go into the gameplay here. So thank you, Detective Cobra. By the way, will Hogwarts have stupid recommended levels? So like Gotham Knights. If it does, I'm gonna be mad. Well, let me phrase it as a question so we can get your thoughts on a bigger thing. So the combat. What do you think about the combat? And I guess that's a very fair point. So when you're battling enemies, I've never really actually thought about it. Is there? Because you can upgrade. You have skill trees. So will there be levels? Will the enemies be level? I'll give it to you first.
Putting you on the spot.
It's tough. It's actually tough.
That's a tough question.
I feel like the answer would be no. I feel like, like The Witcher though has levels. The Witcher has levels, and there's like areas that you wouldn't want to explore if you're lower.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. A lot of people forget we're still students.
Yeah.
We don't know that much about magic. According to at least the blog and even the dev, we're being introduced to this. It's like Harry being introduced to this Wizarding World.
Yeah.
And so there's aspects where you can't really just go out and about in the certain areas.
Yeah.
Because you'll get taken down. Like, bro, like I'm not up to par yet. And then that's where the combat comes into play, because then do I have the right spells selected for this type of enemy camp or area that I'm going to be exploring, or cave or dungeon, because we don't know who we're going to run into. And so I think the progression in levels, or even mastering of spells, or even your overall abilities, I think should play an aspect into your exploration feature, because then you're like, I really need to work on this, and then that might even elongate the gameplay, so to speak, because of that. And so we know classes are going to play a role. We know there's a side class that we have to take to catch up with our fellow fifth years. So I think it makes sense. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised.
It's tough because the Gotham Knights thing is weird how they're doing it, but I generally am fine with, I guess, I really can embrace any style, because I'm trying to think of, just any way they can do it. If they did it where, I'm thinking The Witcher. The Witcher is the first one I can think of. Just, everybody levels up. And the thing with me is this. So if there's levels and there's recommended levels, what you have to make sure you do is you have to give people enough to do for each whatever you want, like a wave of levels. So from levels like 5 to 10, you have to have stuff in levels 5 to 10, because if it's bare and then you're expecting them to go into that 10 plus, you're going to get destroyed. So you're almost telling people to grind, and I don't think that's going to work for a game like that. I really don't. I don't think grinding something we'll want to do here. You want to explore and go to layers and stuff, but to do the same thing like over and over, and I don't think it's going to be a game that's built to do that. So that's what I would say too. If they want to give us a level, quests have levels, enemies have levels.
Exactly.
You just have to make sure there's enough of them.
Yeah.
That's it.
Because I don't mind going out however far to the coastline, and I run into a dragon. Yeah. And then the thing takes me out immediately.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So then I'm like, okay, maybe I need to work on my ancient magic. Maybe I need to work on this spell. Maybe I need to work on my relationship with my companions who might help me with this situation. Right. I'm assuming like Poppy Sweeting or something, who might be proficient with, Fantastic Beasts or something like that, So I think there's strategy to it, but I don't want to grind fest though. Please, no.
And I think, and this is a good game. I'll get to the super chat, by the way. Thank you. But I just want to say this. This really, to me, it seems like a game. Well, I just lost my train of thought. Oh no. Because I'm thinking The Witcher. I'm actually quite stumped on the entire thing. I'm okay with levels. You need enough. I wonder if this is a kind of game where the enemies, they have a very specific strengths, weaknesses kind of chart. I'd imagine it is, because you could really do a lot with a game like this with spells, and then you could also take in potions and beasts to help you fight. So I like that idea of strategy. Because I actually
think they
don't do
tease
that much in like The Witcher. I just kind of go for it with like the sword and stuff. But for this, I could see myself like, okay, if it's more defensive spells you need for this encounter, I'll do that.
I think that's the case because even in the character creations, and then we can get to the super chat.
Yeah.
Even with the character creations part, the goblin armor, for example, those two seem very different in regards to how it might affect their combat style. So the one with the hood seemed like a mage type, whereas the other one with the gauntlets covering the fingertips seemed like a close combat type foe. So that spells, having different variety of spells for those type of enemies, I think makes sense, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think enemy weaknesses will only be uncovered if we go to class and study them? Well, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, that goes into it, right? Because you think of like Horizon. Horizon, you scan them with your focus, and because of the lore. But so for this, if you discover an unknown enemy, does somebody tell you? Do you have to go to the library?
Right.
These are the fun, to me, these are the fun things. And these are the things that I think, this is why I told Troy, I was like, what they need to do, because I'm in charge here. What they need to do is they need to show just one quest. Do a side quest. Do a 10-minute presentation.
Yes.
You're the main character. You go around Hogwarts, and you do one side quest. Because in that side quest, you will be talking to people.
Yeah.
You'll be seeing things. You may craft. You can do 100 things inadvertently.
Yeah.
And you can show so many little things that most people truly don't care. They don't. But we would. We would. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, that's just a normal part of any open world game. We're like, oh, my God, 10 videos. Right? Yeah. I really think that's the best way of getting, because then you could do that. What if in the gameplay, a quest, you fight an unknown enemy? Well, can we see the enemy name? Or no, we can't. Maybe we do have to go back to the class. I mean, that's why I want my desire, for what's next.
Yo, and I think that aspect that you just threw out there, again with another super chat, thank you guys.
You guys rock.
I think that'll help with casual players as well.
Yeah.
Because that could be daunting for, you talked about earlier, those cats who are just Harry Potter fans and seeing this game. They might not be gamers. And so I think having something like that as a reference to go back to class, and go over the book, go to the restricted section, and find a book or something along those lines to help. I think that would be very helpful and add to the lore, I think, to what the Wizarding World could bring in regards to knowing your opponents, because there's books for everything, So that makes sense. I like that.
Yeah. And thank you again, Detective Cobra. I hope Gotham Knights and Hogwarts isn't like AC. Yeah, I mean, that's a valid concern. And AC is AC, and I think they do it as well as I prefer the older Assassin's Creed, but even those had issues.
Right.
Man, the thing that because I was asking Troy about the whole, like you said, people that have never played these kind of games. I'm not really concerned, but I am super curious of like how, because if it's a deep RPG game, and you have people that don't play games, like how do you balance that? And the answer is you just do. You just balance it. That's kind of the answer. And so I want to see it. And I'm not like putting pressure on them or like demanding. I just literally want to see how easy is this for someone who's never played it versus me. I played like 25 new games this year. Like, what's it like? What's the difference? And I'm not saying it's going to be do or die based off of that, because ultimately I'm going to judge it based off my playing experience. Yeah.
Yep.
I'll throw in, maybe if you have no idea what a game is, you're going to be lost. I mean, sure, you can throw that in there, but I'm the one playing it, so I'm going to get, you know what I mean? But I'm really interested to see how and what that means is, how deep do certain things go?
Yeah.
How deep do some of the systems of this game go to make it friendly for some? But yet again, I mean, like, I'm not, past Harry Potter games are not for idiots. Like they're not for, you know what I mean? Like they're games that anybody can kind of jump into, but they're not like, one button games. They're not for 3-year-olds. Like, so I want to give them credit there. It's not like it's always been that. I'm asking for something different. I just want to see it.
Yeah. As we got another super chat.
100+ likes. Thank you guys. And how about,
a pirouette.
Oh, man.
Okay, so there's a backstory to this. Sydney Wolf is actually a patron of ours over at the channel.
Oh, my God.
And every Wizarding Wednesday, if we cross 100 likes, I do a pirouette. For a lot of people who might not know, your audience might not know, I have a background in ballet and football.
Oh, okay.
And so, as a reward, a lot of people ask for a pirouette. So, she's throwing that out there. You don't have to. That's something we can do at the end. I can do by myself, but if you want to try, we'll just throw that out there. So, yeah, we can try it.
Wow.
But anyway.
Hey, I'm up for new things, and and again, this is, I know we haven't been really talking to the chat too much, but I just want to let you guys know. I mean, we do this for much like they're doing it for us. We do this stuff for you, and I mean, I know that your channel, again, you have a well-oiled machine. Your group is a lot of fun, is a lot of passionate and kind people.
Yes,
and I think that's the thing. Again, that's why I get so mad at these journalists. It's like, we're not evil, and if you spend some time in these live streams, I mean, like, other people, again, like, I'm not gonna stroke my ego, so I'll stroke yours or somebody else's, but like, you are all very nice people. We're not, we're not monsters. And then the chat, the people that watches our videos, they've never said anything to me remotely controversial. But we respect the heck out of you guys, and I'm surprised we got these kind of numbers. So you guys freaking rock.
Yo,
and by the way,
shout out.
Yeah, and the plan, by the way, I mean, this is something I want to do more of. We've been talking, back and forth in the background. I want to get other creators, and I want to also, and we tried this and it failed, but I'm going to try it again. We got to get everybody together.
All at once.
Yeah, all at once. That's going to be so hard, but I really think we can do it one time before the thing starts.
I think I've done it a couple of times before, so I'd be willing to be the guinea pig for that way, because I think I've done it once or twice a couple of years ago, but I just got to remember. But yeah, we got to do that before the game. Really, sure.
I mean, there's a lot we can do in talking before the game, after the game. I mean, we're in it to the long run. What's max level, and what do you do at the end of the game? Thank you for the super chat, and then I'll read both, and we'll just answer both. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you, Z Monty. I have a theory about Quidditch being in the game. For the official reveal trailer, if you stop at 104, you see characters in Quidditch gear, the same black character is the character that you also see later fighting the troll. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And that's a great theory, and I'm almost upset that is factually true, and yet they still may not do it.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing. Again, the first trailer, they did some changes.
Yeah.
Because normally a trailer introduces stuff you will be able to do.
Yeah.
Normally, not just world building, but actually like stuff you'll be able to interact with. So when you see arriving at Hogwarts and going through the Great Hall and, going to the library and exploring, and then Quidditch, in the quad, you're just like, are we going to do Quidditch? Like, you think we're going to do it. So, I mean, I get it. And it is what it is. We understand. But I think a lot has changed between, again, that reveal trailer and what's happening after the state of play, for sure.
And then max level, and what do you do at the end of the game? Max level is tough, maybe like 100. Games that go 2, 3, 4. I mean, I'm not really a fan of those. So I'd probably, but it depends on how little experience you need to get from one to the next.
Facts. Yeah. Even the talent cards or section, we had did the math on the bottom, because you can see there's progression in some of the talents, and it goes up to 50.
Oh man,
just off of that.
Yeah. So
I'm like, okay, how do we go past it? Like, how do you go past it? Because the max with all those talents is 50. So is the level 50? Is it higher?
I think Horizon is 50. You would unlock everything. Yeah, there's got to be some level 50, 60 where it's like you are very, very powerful. And then if you want to grind to get to whatever they place as the max, but you're not going to really unlock things past, say you do 50, 60, and then they've decided that's probably where most people are going to get and not past it.
Yeah.
So you have that. And then what do you do at the end of the game? All right, well, this actually leads us, let's talk about this real fast. Okay. The end of the game obviously depends on what the end of the game is. And I was actually thinking about asking you this earlier, so this is a great segue. Okay. Is this just 5th year, or do you keep going? Does it end with you as an adult? What do you think?
Okay, so I've actually been trying to work on this, but we keep getting news. Seasons is a huge... I think seasons might be a huge hint.
Yeah, me too.
And it's not just, fall, winter, spring, summer. Okay, if it's summer, we're not technically supposed to be at school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So are we going to go like just hang out? Are we going to live with Sebastian or somebody?
Yes.
You know, so or is summer the very beginning when we start the game,
Right.
and then we go into the other aspects? I hope, I hope that it's not just 1 year. 1 year makes sense because that's how the books did. Each book was like a year.
Yeah.
I get it. I hope it's not, and I hope we go through to our 7th year where we'll see Albus Dumbledore come in.
Oh man.
into school.
If they don't do it, mods will.
Like,
I'm telling you, mods will do
yes,
it.
they will.
So
They will.
it's either they
They
do
will.
it or somebody will do it with. Yeah. It's so tough because I do wrestle back and forth. I completely agree with you. The seasons is why you say summer, like you said. So summer, either they're counting summer because you're in summer for like 2 days in the beginning, and you'll never go back.
Exactly.
Or it means, like you said, there's some sort of kind of break, and then you'll go back in the fall for the next year. Here's the thing that I always go back and forth of the concern is, I guess, from a story perspective, does the story last 3 years? Because if you keep going, if you get 5th, 6th, 7th, but if they want to do like a really isolated incident, maybe it only lasts in the 5th year. So like this Goblin Revolution, or even the villains they've shown, are they only in that 1 year? Then you also have to think, all right, well, if that's true, so following that, so 5th year is the story they've pitched to us, basically. So we wouldn't have a clue what the story of 6 and 7. Those almost sound like separate games.
Yeah.
And then it would also concern me if you flip it, how detailed then would each year's story be if you had to do 3 of them?
Facts.
That's where I'm at. Is if you want to fill an entire year, I get, and trust me, I get wanting to do all 3 because I kind of do. I want to graduate. That's what I truly want. But then you're gonna kind of have to skip over. You're not gonna really live a one full complete year where you really feel like you're going through an entire year. You're gonna live kind of like the movies, where you live sections and they skip months.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, it works. And I wouldn't be mad if they did that in the game. I really wouldn't. But that's my argument. That's my counter.
That's
for if it's 3 years, you'd have to do that. You'd have to skip large sections of the year and just focus on like one. You could do a quest at level 5, and then this quest that says level 7, it says like the quest takes place in December, and you have to skip from September to, you know what I mean? They'd have to do stuff like that in order to make it work. I don't know.
That I hate it. I think you're right. I think you're right. And that's the only thing to that is, if let's say we get sequels, then they have to keep introducing villains.
Well, so I just made a video, or maybe it already went up, but I went through that logic too, where it's like, all right, so and another issue. All right, so you have this game and you take place in years 5, 6, 7. So then the next year, or the next game, sorry, Hogwarts Legacy 2, you're an adult, not at Hogwarts, unless you're a teacher. So then why is it called Hogwarts Legacy? Unless they change the name, but then it's not then that will confuse people. I think just from like a marketing perspective, you wouldn't do it. And like you said, then if you did years 5 and then 6, maybe this is something I've never even thought of. Did they pick year 5? Simply because 5, 6, 7, a trilogy of games. Years 5 is the first game, 6,
and then 7.
Could they have done it? Could they literally? Because if they want to do 4 games, would they have picked year 4? Maybe. Maybe that was a small little decision they thought of. I really don't know. But I would want a second game where you're an adult and you're just in like the world. But then it's not called Hogwarts Legacy. I just don't. You know. And I'm not like it's just like situations they've kind of run themselves in by almost accident.
Based off the title and everything. Yeah. Well, also, but you remember, like with Final Fantasy, for example.
Yes.
It was called Final Fantasy because they weren't sure they would be able to do, more games. So you just stick with what you have right now and then hope you get to the point where you can make more, and then that's a bridge you'll cross eventually.
True. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a point to me that you don't have to worry. I'm not even saying, like, I don't think they're worried. They're, like, pacing back and forth in their office, and they're like, holy Jesus, guys, we messed the name up. We literally – you're right. They could call it Hogwarts Legacy something, 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 Rise of something, and you could be an adult. You could be an or whatever, and you don't even have to go to Hogwarts, and it would still be fine. It just an unfortunate situation with the name.
Yeah.
But it's always something I've thought of when it comes to years like 5, 6, 7. And
it could work, though, the name-wise. Strictly because if because that's my big thing right now. If Merlin is as big as I hope he is,
yeah,
then you can carry on, because I think the legacy might have something to do with, Merlin or us or whatever. And he was a student in Wizarding World lore, actually a student of Salazar Slytherin. So I think our knowledge of ancient magic could carry on into multiple years and bring on a big bad if they go with the Merlin lore, because you can bring in Morgana, you can bring in a lot of other stuff with just that Arthurian Merlin lore and kind of play with it a little bit while sprinkling in your normal day-to-day stuff at Hogwarts and something. So
when you said Morgana, I was reading a comment that said Persona, and I immediately thought of the cat. Just wanted to throw that in there. It's funny how things work. It's and I don't doubt their ability to create a new story for year 6 and then 7. I really think they could do that. It's an unfortunate situation where it's actually fortunate, because it's like what you've done is you've basically given people everything they want at Hogwarts, and then you've created this talk in the community that they love it so much that they want a game where you're an adult and you're just doing stuff. And I mean, and like I said to Troy, like that's a great problem to have. People saying we want like 30 more games. Like that's a great problem. Not every game does. When The Last of Us Part 2 comes out, you have a 50-50 split of people saying I don't want 3 and I want 3. That's not ideal. It's not. It really isn't. But for this game, it's like, well, the worst thing you have is people saying, man, I hope you graduate so you can make a second game and you're at the Ministry of Magic, and like that's a great issue to deal with.
That would be amazing. Yeah, that it is. And like you said, you start with the first block. You don't work towards the second and third or fourth. No, you work on perfect the first thing, and then whatever you get, along the way, then you're like, okay, we can maybe do a second or third game. So, I think they intentionally had a plan for this game as a solo project, and if successful, they might have left some room, at least story-wise, where they could go into another trilogy type thing.
They could even do something where it's like, if they wanted to do years 5 and 6, and then you end the game on like Dumbledore coming in, because the way they've talked, and I respect it. Actually, I really respect it, and it boosts my ego because I'm a cocky guy. And they say, this game is all about you. So when I hear that, I mean, I love it. Yeah. But when they say it's all about you, like it's not about other people, it's about you. Yeah. I think you can still hold strong on that belief and end the game on teasing Dumbledore. I think you could. Because then the second game doesn't have to only be about you. It could be I'm not saying you have to play as Dumbledore, but he could be a more central point if their mindset is this game is literally strictly about you. We don't care about Dumbledore.
Right.
You can do that, tease him, and then the next game can be more of like a brothers in arms kind of. I mean, you could do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Years 5 and 6 seems weird to end it after year 6. But it maybe doesn't, because Dumbledore, factually, we know, would be starting years, in that 7th year.
Yep.
In 1892. So I feel like they could get away with it, where it would probably be like, well, why would you stop it when you have 1 year left of school? And then you could probably wiggle yourself out of that with saying, well, Dumbledore entering is enough of a reason to stop there and start the next game there.
Facts. And, I mean, let's just say, they could just do a DLC through that as well.
True.
They could just do that instead of an entirely different game.
Yeah.
And then they can focus on an entirely different title or aspects of the Wizarding World through WB Avalanche. So I know Hogwarts is the big thing because that's what we know and love. And like they said, like that's the thing that grounds everything in regards to the Wizarding World. So it makes sense to have that as a focus. But going through later on in the future, it will be interesting to see what they choose to do story-wise and where they choose to do it. Yeah, that's going to be very clutch.
Yeah, because
I hope to see Dumbledore.
A big thing of pride for them, it sounds, is that they have free reign in the years that. But as soon as you enter Dumbledore, I mean, you have events that start to happen, and the history book starts to fill up, once you get to like the 20s, 30s, 40s. So you don't have as much time as you would think you do,
Exactly.
Which is fine, because again, you could have people saying, well, let me see a game in the, kind of like the Grindelwald era, not a Fantastic Beasts game. Let me just see a game in the Grindelwald era from them. Again, that's a great problem to have, asking them to to do it. I want to get to Timothy's, because this is an interesting one. Any fears about enemy AI in what we have so far? That's a great question.
That's a great question.
Because it's kind of always a coin flip with me if the AI is stupid. Assassin's Creed, actually, we keep mentioning it, kind of pioneered, when you're in the middle, they're all around, and they wait one at a time.
You just wait, yeah.
The thing with this one, I'll answer, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
I just feel like this one is, we're going to want it to be very, as natural as it can be, and I doubt they're going to be able to do it. Because my dream would be literally like a wizarding, where you're blocking and then you're shooting, very, very fast.
Yeah.
Almost like maybe like the fight at the end of 5 when everybody's doing. If every fight was like that, that'd be perfect. It seems like it's going to be a lot slower and more staticky, which is fine.
Yeah.
It seems like it's going to be that. So I think that the issue is going to be, can we accept that? Are we okay with it not going to be perfect, in our minds perfect? Because really, they're never going to be able to get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There will be an issue, though, if you're fighting one and one is literally standing right there and he's not shooting at you until the one. That will be a problem if that happens. And ultimately, I actually don't know if we can say one way or the other if we have to wait. We don't know. Even the gameplay snippets, the focus is always kind of on one person.
Exactly.
And then they're taking different clips. We would really need to see a 2-minute, again, a quest would be walk into a room, and then the camera pulls back, and then you fight. And let's see how that fight, do people flank you? Do they all shoot at once? I have a feeling they won't all shoot at once, because I don't think the game mechanic will be for you to block spells from more than one location. So that may upset people, and I honestly would get that. But also, you have to understand the limitations. But I do get people probably wanting certain things. I get it.
And I think that's it. It's the balance. Because, and I want to forewarn everybody, I'm hearing thunder outside, so if I cut out.
We'll probably wrap up in another 10 or so minutes. But
I think that's the fine line of balance. Because you still have people who aren't used to playing games, who might be exploring this game. So you want to try and make a game that's engaging for everyone. And I think, don't quote me, but I think in the blog it talked about varying skill levels when it comes to combat. So I think there's going to be difficulties where we might have 2 or 3 cats coming at us with their spells, and we're going to have to deflect it. We were actually kind of breaking down the at least shield charm on our last stream, because we were just talking about the HUD and the button placement and how that would work. Because if you look at it, they cast the spells pretty fast in regards to our character.
Yeah.
And so that seems real in regards to a dance, I would want to say, with their spell casting. And then out of nowhere, you'll see an animation comes and then they'll deflect it.
Yeah.
And then it'll keep going back at that same person and somebody else shoots from the side and then they'll deflect that. So and then of course everybody always jokes about the that gif where the person runs into the tree.
Yes, they're mentioning that in the chat.
I mean, that's the thing, but I think that's more so the bugs that they're showing off, and more than anything. But I think there's going to be a variety of levels with difficulty, and I think that might calm people who are worried about how easy it might be.
Yeah, difficult. I always forget games will have different difficulties.
Yeah.
The thing. Difficulties are tough though, because I feel like, and I don't know obviously for this game, they could go where higher difficulties is simply it takes more for you to take them out and it takes less for them to take you out.
Oh, so
there's sometimes difficulties
AI.
Where it's punishing, or a Doom. Doom is if you put it on the highest difficulty, you get shot twice, you're dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess I agree with you. I think I'd just be concerned because you could go down that road where difficulty just simply means, because I saw some people say maybe they attack faster.
Yeah.
Maybe that seems like I can't think of a game where they'll literally attack you. The game will move faster. Maybe it does. Does Doom do that? I don't know. I'm sure that's probably a possibility, and I would like that. That'd be fine. It depends on kind of and again, that's why I kind of want to see the gameplay. Is it a Batman Arkham where you press triangle to counter, and you're doing that in the game, and so you're blocking a spell back here, and then you're shooting in the. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Hopefully, that'd be if they could take Arkham Knight, where it's all close.
A good game.
Yeah,
such a good game.
It's specifically the fluidity of the combat in Knight is perfect.
Yeah.
So if you could take that where they're all close together and then simply move them, move them, and everything's ranged.
Yeah.
But you kept the same mechanics of a counter, block, stun. If you kept Arkham Knight but just spread everybody out and gave them wands, I feel like that'd be. And this is Warner Bros., which they all. I don't know how many ideas they share with each other, but it's in the family.
Yeah.
So maybe.
It could be a blueprint there that could be applied. Yeah, I hope so, because that's such a good game. That's a good call. That's a good call. I like that.
Ghost of Tsushima, they attack more often, less standing around, and you die quicker. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
that could be a thing where, if the enemies are around you, they're just standing there on easy, but then on hard, it's one attack, then the next, then the next.
Yeah.
That would be totally fine with
I'd be
me.
down with that.
Yeah.
They're more aggressive. Man, yeah. And that's where the companions come in, I think, too.
Yeah.
Because then on the higher difficulty, or lower difficulty, how responsive are they to the AI or even to us?
You hide behind them and let them take all the hits and die.
Right.
How can you do it?
Right.
I hope. I don't want them to die, though. Do you think there'll be certain spell keybinds to activate them, or will we have to keep switching out spells through the menus? My belief is I really projecting, and I'm willing it into existence. I really want a wheel where you have the spell icons.
Yes.
And I couldn't. I made the video and I said that, and I couldn't find a clip because I was also visiting my family. Okay. I was thinking Mass Effect 3. Because Mass Effect 3, you have the wheel, you have your partners, and then you'll have the moves, and there'll be icons of the moves.
That's
and you hover the wheel to it, and you assign it a button.
Yeah.
And then it's just a fast press of the controller, but you can swap it mid-fight.
Mm-hmm.
If you could do that just with yourself, make a full wheel, and then all around the wheel is all of your spells, and you can equip 4 at a time. Yeah. That would be my perfect model.
And that would make sense because spells are something you learn.
Yeah. It's not like you can only go into fights with 4 spells and you just forgot the rest. That would be a problem.
Right, exactly. So I think the wheel, just makes sense for the world that we'll be exploring.
Yeah.
And also just makes it easier, not so much easier, but it makes more sense with that wheel and switching your spells out for whatever situation you're in, whether you're sneaking or whether you're going out exploring or whether you're in class. You can't use your lethal spells against a fellow classmate, So I think the wheel is the best case scenario or something along those lines.
Somebody mentioned Witcher, which is the same thing with Witcher. You can equip your different potions or Igni, all of your spells you can pick from on there. That one's a little less. I think you can only equip maybe one spell at one time, so that one you have to change. Yeah, that's a good one too. I really think a wheel. But like to your point, I kind of just gloss over that. I mean, even from a lore perspective, it doesn't make sense to only go into a fight with those spells that you have, and you're not allowed to, especially because then if enemies are weak to one thing and strong to another, something, you go down that avenue, and you brought in the wrong stuff. I mean, with the wheel, it's strategy on the fly, it's more fluid, it's more fun. You don't have to have people retreating and going to the room of requirements to like respec themselves. You enter a lot of problems when you do that. I don't think this game is meant for. The temporary UI looks like Dragon Age already. Yeah, Dragon Age. I said Dead by Daylight. Temporary. The skills are Dead by Daylight. I'm not, or the spells.
Yes,
they are literally Dead by Daylight's icons.
Everybody,
I'm not going to back off that.
Yeah, everybody was saying that. That's right. Yes, and the thing is, speaking on the wheel, I don't want to be out and about minutes in real life away from Hogwarts and have to go all the way back, whether it's through the flu flame or whatever, just to make sure I have my spells right. No, I want to be out there. The only thing I want to make sure I might run out of is potions or gear or something like that. That makes more sense because those are things you would have to equip in your inventory. But spells should be up here, and you should have all access. And it would make sense if those spells, if you're not using as much, aren't doing that much. So then you gotta wait, I gotta work on these spells because if I'm going over here, I might run into this. So I gotta make sure Expelliarmus or Stupefy is good for this spell. So
the 2 most used spells in all of just Harry Potter's. Harry literally his list of spells he uses really isn't that long.
Stupefy.
The flying with the broom seems clunky to me. What do you think? It could be. We'll have to see how it plays. To me, it could be it could be where you're not allowed to hit certain things So I could imagine maybe, or maybe they limit you. Like in the sky, there's only so much you can fly through. We'll have
They
to
do
see.
say you can run into dragons.
You can.
Yeah, they did say that on the blog. You could run into like a.
Maybe it would be why. That's tough because then like if they hit you, the mechanic, as long as it's not buggy or glitchy. I don't know. They've been working hard. They've been working. I trust. I think that's again. There is a lot of questions. I'm not like there's a lot of stuff that we don't know, but I really feel good about them. I feel
exactly
that it'll work out.
What's your big? If you had like one or two questions, what's your big question outside of release date that you would like to see answered before its release?
I want to see dialogue. Literally, I want to see the words on the screen, and I want to see how you choose. Is it Mass Effect? Is there a Paragon Renegade option? Is there a really good choice and a really bad choice for every conversation? Is there gray areas? So I literally want to see the wheel and the choices that you make. Another question. Probably something about school classes. Can you skip?
Ooh.
Do you have to go? Or no, you know what? I would try to get extra. Maybe something like how time works. Like, is there a clock in the top right, and you have to go to a class at a certain time? Can you skip? Yeah. Because I think by asking that, you would say, well, can you skip classes? Will it skip days? So I feel like that would be kind of a good question that could reach for some info.
That's a good one.
What's yours?
I know my big one is just how it's two. How would the dark path work? How does that look? Is it aesthetic change or is it just spell change? Yeah. Is it a different path? And will we have two endings or multiple endings?
Oh man,
that's a huge one.
What do you think? Gut feeling? Do you think there'll be two endings? My initial answer would be yes. I feel like if I think about it, I would change it to no, so I won't think.
That's me. Because it felt more likely from the reveal trailer.
Yes.
But this one, the state of play, doesn't feel like that. Granted, we could get more.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say yes because I want it so bad. We're telling our own story. We're living our own story.
And you can meld them both or whatever, combine them both together where there's some that you have to be careful, specifically if you do sequel games, because you run into those. And here's the thing, I think of Life is Strange, or I think of Infamous. Infamous 2, they screwed themselves so hard. I don't know if you know, the ending of Infamous 2, good and bad, is so fundamentally different that it's shocking that they would do that and expect to be able to continue the Infamous brand. So, and the thing is, lore is way more important to Hogwarts than it is to some of those games, because those games are made up. And they have very strong lore, but people, I think, care about So if you did that in Hogwarts, if you had two completely separate endings and one hurt the lore, or you couldn't make it work in a sequel, you've really shot yourselves in the foot.
Yeah.
But you could have best of both worlds. You can have good and bad endings, but some event still needs to happen no matter either. Like, it still ends at the exact same place. And then you're fine. I think.
So if that's the case, would the sequel allow you to pick up where you left off?
Yes. It would be
like, right?
Yes, it'd be like Mass Effect, I'd imagine. I would copy. I mean, I know I always bring up, people say my Wizarding World lore knowledge is not as strong as anybody else's. I'm not going to pretend like it is. Okay, you're much stronger. But my knowledge of games is quite strong. And so I would like to copy Mass Effect. I'd like to copy Witcher. I'd like to copy maybe Horizon a little bit. Like, these are, I just think of other examples of games. Maybe that's less entertaining to some, but that's how. So I would literally copy Mass Effect with how a game ends to then the next one.
Yeah.
Because if you do it right, I mean, you can do it like Mass Effect, where it kind of builds into this gigantic thing at the end, and you're saying goodbye to everybody and all this. I mean, it really could work. So you'd have to pick up exactly where you left off. Where we can't be talking 6-7 years after this game comes out the next. It has to be. Don't rush, but I mean, if we're looking at 6-7 years for a development for the next game, then maybe you stop here. Maybe you do make a definitive ending, and then you could do whatever you want for the next one. Because I don't want to wait like 15 years for a trilogy.
God, no.
You know,
God,
I might not even be alive in 15 years. I don't know. So, I mean, that's where I stand. You either end it definitively, or if you can do it every 4 years, maybe like Horizon 4 or 5 years, that's fine.
Yeah, because I know. Gosh, yeah.
This one took 5 years, most likely. I wanted to ask Troy. I think maybe I did private. I don't think he answered. I don't know how long it took because 2018 October is when it leaked.
Yep.
They were working on it before.
Yep.
Maybe 6 months, maybe longer. Well, maybe
Yep.
4.5. Took them 4.5 years. But now you have DLC will slow them down. So if you make DLC for Hogwarts Legacy, that pushes 2 down further.
Yeah, true.
So things that could happen now didn't happen back then. Can we get a game in 4 years? Can we get a game in 5 years? I don't know. I wanted to ask him, but he didn't answer.
Yeah, that's and I mean that makes sense.
Yeah, I get
I'm
it.
glad you asked.
I understand.
I'm glad you asked just to see because you won't know until you ask.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yo, okay, so I have a couple of just rapid fire ones.
Yeah.
It's just yes or no, and these are like the 5 biggest questions.
Right.
But one is personal for me.
Okay.
The personal one is, will we ride dragons?
Oh man, ride
Yes or no?
dragon? Yes.
Yes.
I'll say yes because they're already toying with other creatures.
Like
so a
Death
dragon
Note
being
stuff.
like an end game thing you can do if you've mastered something, I
Yeah.
feel like would be cool. So I'll
Okay.
say yeah. I'll say yes, but you can't like take it into battle and like blow fire down.
No.
I'll say yes. Yeah, that's a great question. All right, that's
Okay.
one. What's
Okay.
your? Well, what you want to give yours? Real?
No,
these?
I say yes just because I actually think the dragon is tied to Merlin in my theory. A lot of his lore, at least story wise, is connected with the dragon, and just seeing how beat up it is and stuff. I don't think it's so much poaching. I think it's just that old.
Yeah.
And so I think there might be a connection there. We might be able to interact and possibly ride it. So I'm going to say yes.
Nice.
That specific dragon, not like a Hungarian Hortail or other
Yeah.
ones because they're hard. Okay, so we both say yes. Okay, next question: relationships, yes or no?
I want it, but I'm gonna say no. They didn't do it.
Me too.
That's what I'll. Which
Me
is
too.
which is maybe the most disappointing thing to me.
I
It truly could be. Yeah, because I think they're gonna be detailed, and I think they're gonna feel like characters that exist to do their 6 missions, and that's it. That's what I kind of get, which is fine. And I think they can still nail them being good characters, and they could return in future games. But I really get the sense that they're there for, and you can take them into battle. They have their 5-6 quests in their storyline, and maybe that's too much. Honestly, depends on how long the quests are,
Right.
and that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, kind of like a Donald and Goofy thing for Kingdom Hearts, but then with a quest. That's I believe that.
I don't think in the traditional sense, but maybe in other aspects. I think that's where the companions kind of come into play.
Yeah.
Having your own golden trio somewhat during the 1800s. So, we got a super chat.
Do y'all think that they will show year 6 and 7 in the game? It might be too much starting out. Thank you for your consistent content and dedication. It's truly appreciable. Well, thank you, good sir. We try our best. We've mentioned it before. I think. Well, what do you think? Let's just do a quick percentage. What percentage odds do you think we would get to year 6 and 7? I'll say 60.
So you going over 50?
I'll go over 50. Yeah, I'll do it. Because I feel like they can skip. I feel like they will skip periods of time. And if they were to, or if they showed gameplay at some point in the next 4 months, and we saw a gigantic skip of months by accident, they don't even then it would be 100%. You know what I mean? Where it's like you're doing something and they say, we're going to skip ahead till March now. And it's like, oh, that's a huge skip. I think
But then how would that affect replayability? I'll say under 50. I'll say under 50. I'll say 40. Because I don't know how to affect replayability with this skip stuff. Unless that stops at the end of the game, maybe. I don't. I want it so
I wonder where it
bad.
would end, too, because how do you do end game stuff?
Yeah.
But, but wait. Easy. Games do this quite often. You put the character back right before the final mission. And you can do anything in the world. You just cannot do the final mission.
Yeah.
Horizon does that. Lots
Yeah.
of games.
That's a
Ghostwire
good one.
Tokyo. Lots of games do that.
All right, 60%. I'm with you. I'm with you. Oh my god, that's a good question.
And we've answered the Dumbledore thing too, by the way, guys, in terms of, I guess it's kind of 50-50, whatever. Do you think we'll see Dumbledore in Hogwarts? Is he technically when we were in year 7? I think maybe they'd stop right there for year 7.
If we get to year 7, I don't think we'll. Well, we have to finish. If we do year 7, we have to finish year 7.
Yeah.
If
Oh,
there's
yeah,
year
yeah,
7, then
no
we'll see
weird
Dumbledore.
cliffhanger and like Christmas of year 7. Like, for the love of God, please.
No. So if we're going through year 7, we will see
Well,
Dumbledore.
let me. This is a thing I just randomly thought of. So DLC, just real fast. So if you do DLC commonly would be like maybe filling in a gap or filling in a certain period of time right at the end that you just did. Some games it adds a new map, a new part of a map.
Yeah.
Man, it would be. How do you think they would do DLC for this?
Okay, so they are hitting hard on the exploration part. They really are.
Yeah.
You can tell they've nailed Hogwarts, but the exploration of what's around Hogwarts, I think they're trying to like expand upon.
Yeah.
And so that being said, in addition to the map, I want Azkaban to be there.
Oh man, yeah.
But if it's not, that would be something they could add.
Yeah.
I think maps
like
make sense.
What period of time though do you think? So you'd have a new map,
Yeah,
new part of the map.
technically,
So you have a new quest line. So when
So-
does that timeline take place in the main game? Maybe
So
if they
that
were to like skip winter for one of the if you did like years 5, 6, 7, you skipped periods of time. You could simply say that's what you were doing in that time.
Yes, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Either that or even after graduation.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
say you don't want to go and work for the ministry.
Yeah.
Let's just say you want to go and be your own wizard and figure out this ancient magic thing,
Yeah.
which is tied to nature.
Yeah.
You're going out and about and you run into stuff at Azkaban.
Yeah.
Maybe Sebastian has a family member that's wrongfully imprisoned for doing something, you
Yeah.
know? But the thing is, it's going to get touchy because I think Dumbledore's father is in Azkaban by the time he's at Hogwarts.
Oh God.
Oh, no.
Let me just skip Azkaban.
Yeah.
I like the possibility for DLC is such a awesome concept to me,
Yeah.
and I think it would work really well. Again, the only concern I'd have is it would factually slow them down for future things after.
It would.
But you
in
get more
regards to the
stuff. You
map,
get stuff in
though,
the present too.
Yeah. In regards to the map, though, that's something they could do. If we can or can't go to Gringotts, that's something they can add it as well with the DLC. So depends on what they don't give us. They can definitely add or at least leave room for it to be open-ended down the future.
The best middle ground to even my concern I would accept them. There's a risk reward because if you started DLC after the game's done, you get all the fan feedback. You get all of the things that people wanted to see.
Yeah.
However, it takes much longer. If you've already started DLC, you don't get our feedback, but now you just I feel like Horizon did that. Resident Evil did the opposite. Resident Evil 8 waited till the game came out, was not going to do DLC, and then made DLC simply because the game sold.
Yeah.
So those are two polar opposite ideas.
That is.
And I respect Resident Evil for doing it, but also it took them a year and a half.
A long time, yeah.
It's so far removed from the base game. Horizon did it pretty quick. We'll see about Forbidden West, but they did it for Zero Dawn very quickly. So those are two different approaches right there.
If a DLC is possible, what's a good time frame then? 6 months?
Yeah. I wouldn't push it past a year because
Agreed.
just marketing and
Agreed.
just the way that works. Last of Us kind of has that issue with the multiplayer because I think they wanted it closer to when 2 came out, and but now they made it their own full game. Well, multiplayer is just a full game because it doesn't have anything to do with part 2 anymore.
You're right.
So yeah, there's issues with any of it, but again, I don't know. I trust them. I feel like what they are gonna. I mean, we'll see. I mean, ultimately, if the game comes out and it's not good, I don't trust them anymore.
Right.
But right now, I really have no reason to doubt that they have our best intention, and I'll give them 5 years. I don't care. It's the game we want, and
it is.
And this should be a kickoff. And really, if they did it right, not even Avalanche, if Warner Bros is doing it right, they should have other teams already be working on, like we talked about, spin-off game. There should be a Quidditch game being worked on right now. If there's not, that's horrible management.
It has to be.
And it's not from Avalanche. It's horrible.
No.
So we'll have to wait 5 years for Hogwarts Legacy 2, and that's fine You can brace us for that by having other studios give us games in between, and that's not Avalanche's fault if it does or doesn't happen.
No, because Portkey's working with Jam City on Hogwarts Mystery.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the Zynga for, I believe, Puzzles and Spells. So I mean, they bring in other developers for different aspects of the Wizarding World type games. So
this is an issue with Warner Bros. In general because this has long been a problem with their DC games. They only have a couple studios, and people have asked for years, why in God's name are you not doing what Marvel or previously it was Star Wars. Star Wars gives it to developers to do whatever. Marvel has now started, and while their games, some of them are good, some of them aren't, they're trying, and they're just throwing them. You want a Marvel game? Here, take it. That's what they're... DC does not do that, and they're massively behind. So I will say I do have a massive problem with the strategy because what we're talking about with Hogwarts has happened negatively for the last 5-6 years for DC. They haven't done what we are now saying right now.
Now, here's the thing. And Quidditch World Cup 2, Ben Snow, yes, please. But WB has merged. Well, Discovery has now bought out WB. And it looks like things, at least from the pictures or movie aspect, it looks like they're going in the right direction with David Zaslav as the CEO. Yeah. So I think maybe those changes we had, because I mean they were with AT&T and they were with other stuff within that past 5 years. They've had 2 or 3 different ownerships before coming to this year. So that volatility in leadership probably was what was hindering the development of a lot of those games, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it'll be I agree. I think it's fixed now, or it will be fixed, and it should have happened. And that's another concern, though, too. Like, the rumor with NetherRealm is that they are making Mortal Kombat, not Injustice, because the licenses are all... So does Avalanche... And this is something I wish I could ask Troy, and honestly, I don't even think he knows the answer. If he could... Wouldn't. Even if he could answer, I don't think he knows. Does Avalanche have the okay from whoever the rights holders, and there's management, like you said, shifting? Do they have a literal okay that they are allowed to make more Hogwarts games because of this merge, or are they because maybe they'll get sold? Maybe Avalanche will be sold off. We don't know. So then maybe they aren't allowed to make, because that's what's happening with NetherRealm right now. But Warner Bros. Montreal, they're making DC games. That one scares me, but there's not much you can do about it. You just have to kind of wait. But that one is a question I'd love, and there's no way. Nobody really would know, even at the studio.
But success cures everything.
That's true. Money will make them very happy. So when they see that this game sells 15 million, they'll say, yeah, make the second one. That's true. That's a good point.
Money fixes everything. So, anything that could be happening in the background, if this game is what we think it is, and I think it is, we're getting a second one, and they're not letting Avalanche go. And I wouldn't anyway, because just based off the people we've seen, they're killing it. And I was watching your interviews with Troy, he always speaks highly of the people over at Avalanche and what they're trying to do and the workers there. So,
and someone like Sony sees the potential very clearly.
That's my big question. Okay, because I know we were doing rapid fire questions a while ago. What is the PlayStation's angle with this? What do you think the exclusives they're getting out of this marketing deal with Avalanche?
So I think there's some sort of study that was once done that pretty much, because let's be real, average people don't pay attention to almost anything. And that's not a shot. That's people are living their lives. They don't care. Yep. So the stats or the psychology behind it is when you see Sony being the marketing leader for a game, you associate, whether they own it or not, you associate the game with Sony. So COD, to some, and they think it is the way they approach things is that they see it from a mass audience. They see COD is associated with PlayStation, even if it's not owned. So I think Sony took a strategic bet that Hogwarts was going to be huge. They are very right. And because there are, I don't know about you, you've probably seen it too. In comments, I have gotten comments before around the state of play and trailer asking, is it PlayStation exclusive?
That still happens on Facebook, because we have a Facebook page from our Wizards Unite days, 70,000, and every now and then people come up, can I get this on the Xbox?
Yeah, it's coming out on Xbox, and it's like,
yes, it is. PlayStation. And I was like, yes, they said it in the state of play, but like you said, casual people who might not have been paying attention to it.
Yep.
And so it automatically,
that's to me, that's true. No, it could be more. It could be Sony wants to buy them. And I think Sony may really, but the price could be the issue with that. And the issue with why I don't think really any of those sell easily is because the word that I've seen is that, okay, so you buy Avalanche. So if Sony really likes Avalanche, they buy them. But you do not get Hogwarts Legacy with them. You do not get the Wizarding World license.
Right.
You buy them for their talent, and then you have to go back to Discover and Warner Bros. And you say, can we rent the license? So you bought a studio for, God, 300, 400, 500 million, most likely.
Yeah.
And then you have to go negotiate the IP to rent the IP from, which is, by the way, and again, this is a DC thing, the stupidest idea, and it's what stops people from investing, because you have to do the same thing. If you get Warner Bros. Montreal and you say, well, I've liked their DC games, well, that's nice. You're not buying the DC. You're buying them, which they're iffy. And then after you buy them, now you have to go negotiate. If you want a Superman game, you have to negotiate with their higher-ups. It's such a bad thing. Just in general. So I do think Sony probably would like them and buy them, but I don't really see it happening, to be honest.
Neither do I. And I think, again, if it's successful, I think Warner Brothers wants to have his hands on these cats and, like, work with them, because Harry Potter is still a huge IP, despite what's happening with the Fantastic Beasts movies. I mean, I was at the Harry Potter New York store back in like September, October. Lines going around. I still can't get half the stuff I want because people are still buying merch. People are still buying everything concerning the Wizarding World. Same with the theme parks and everything along those lines. So I just think WB is like, we have this IP. Avalanche is doing such a great job with this, more so than any other game so far. If it's successful, we can do these little games, mobile games, so we can have a variety and appeal to different audiences. But this is going to be our big project surrounding Portkey Games, because Portkey Games really hasn't had that big of a title outside of like Hogwarts Mystery, where they're still making a good amount of money, and then Puzzles and Spells like is mostly like pay to play or whatever. But still, I mean, this is going to be their moneymaker, I think. And so WB doesn't want to let go of that.
That's what I do if I'm Portkey, is I go to pick a Microsoft studio and say, hey, I want to do a Harry Potter game or a Wizarding World game. You go to Sony, you pitch it to EA for some reason. You literally just go around and you shop it. And that's how you build a brand. Because you're like, Portkey is not, it really, I mean, like, we're all diehard fans, but it's not anything. It really is nothing in terms of, you don't have the Star Wars thing where you're handing out Star Wars games, you're handing out Marvel games. The Wizarding World's got nothing even close. Now, this is the it's okay, because this is the starting point. So we need to see that. I would love, if nothing else, Game Awards time next year to hear just a news drop. Jeff Keighley or something, they tweet like a studio and says, we have the license and we're going to do a Wizarding World game. We're starting it. Just random studios. Just give me a random studio.
Ooh, yeah.
I love cool, and that needs to happen to me.
Yeah, I think creatively that helps. It just helps with the brand and overall gaming aspect for the Wizarding World. I totally 1,000% agree. And speaking of Jeff Keighley, do you think Hogwarts Legacy will qualify for Game of the Year this year or next year?
December 6th would be past the cutoff, I think.
So we'll go to next year.
Which is just I love Jeff Keighley. That's the dumbest rule I've ever heard in my goddamn life. It's such a dumb, and I really do. I respect the heck out of the guy, and he's the most passionate in terms of his position. He actually has a soul, unlike a lot of other people in that same position. So I really respect him. But December 6th, I'm trying to think. Smash Bros. Came out back in 2018 in early December, and I think that made it. So I think the cutoff is sometime in December. Game Awards is normally like the 10th, 11th. I don't think Hogwarts Legacy would. I feel like it's got to be a week before, so probably the 4th. No, 6 is a Tuesday. 5, 4.
The 20.
Like the 2nd, December 2nd or something would have to, that Friday. The Friday before. Is the 6th a Tuesday?
It is.
Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
Tuesday.
December 2nd. December 1st is a Thursday. November 29th is a Tuesday. I think it needs to come out then if it's going to make it.
That was the date I picked since all
Yeah.
December 6th. So, okay, let's say it qualifies for this year.
Yes.
Do you think it has a chance?
No, only I'll be very controversial. No, because I think there's going to be a campaign. It will not win almost anything.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I really, because the people that vote are
journalists.
They're board members. Yeah, they're part of the game journalist thing.
Yeah.
So I don't think, I literally think politics
that.
are going to get in the way. And I guess, I mean, we've went full circle, so we'll end it in a few minutes here. But I really feel strong. I could be wrong, and I want to be wrong. But I really just feel in my cocky self that I'm going to be right, and that this is going to be the game that you're going to see sites say, we're not reviewing it. We will not.
Yeah.
And that is and that's why you and I and Retro, we are going to crush them. Because, like, we don't care. We just we love everybody's together. These people are calling us all these monster names. Fine. Don't because you know what? Back to the whole greedy thing. Don't cover it. Then maybe they'll have an extra code for you and me. If you don't give it to IGN or Kotaku, you'll have a code for us. Why don't you give it to people that don't hate you?
Yeah.
That's always been my thing. Don't give the code to game journalists that hate you.
No.
Give it to people that, you can't be one-sided, but give it to people that, like, are fine and they like games, whereas a lot of these people despise the job. So that's, I do not think it would win. It may be cut off by a technicality, and then if it makes it by that, I think the politics will stop them from doing it.
And that's the sad part, because, like, speaking on the community, we just got an image last night from an artist. It was the AJ Draws.
Yeah.
Just drew all of us.
Oh, my God.
Like, I was like, I didn't even know this was happening. Like, did you know about it or anything?
He messaged me for, like, my wand type, but I didn't know what he was going to do. I gave him, like, a couple. Okay. He said, like, wand, Patronus, and something else. And he said he was doing that was it. I didn't know what he was making. Yeah, when I saw that picture, I was like, "Dear Jesus." I said people would hire him.
And like, seriously, so many people are gonna be like, "Yo, can I have you, like, do our logo, channel logo, or something like that?"
Yes.
Like, small stuff, emotes or whatever. Like, it's gorgeous. And again, that just shows you, even with that outside noise, how strong this community is and how passionate we are for this game that's coming out this year.
Right.
And so, I mean, I encourage everybody, ignore the outside noise.
Yeah.
Alex is going to be our
I'll throw myself in the fire for that one
and stuff. And have fun in the fandom on the various forms of social media you interact with all of us and with others. And it's going to be an exciting rest of the 6 months leading up to this release, because, man, this game is going to be amazing, and this community is already amazing. So I cannot even imagine when the game's released how clutch this community is going to be.
It's a level-headed group. It's a group that demands things and wants things, but it comes from a place of passion. And this could have gone really bad. Like Chandler, I think overwhelmingly is very highly respected by general fans on Twitter. There's I'm sure community managers that get destroyed if they do anything on Twitter. Like, people are mean. Some people are mean. So this is such a you said it perfectly. I mean, this is a great group. Don't let, and I'm the one talking. I'm the one who always does listen to these clowns but you can't let it affect. I always just say, like, play the game. Like, if you want to play the game, who are they to tell you
not
to not buy it? You're evil if you spend your money. It's your money. We all the world is not doing too great. Live your life. If you like Hogwarts, then things like that. Like, spend your money how you want, enjoy the games that you want. You're not here for that long. You're not. You don't need IGN telling you to not do it. So that's where I stand. And they don't get it. They really do not understand it. They think that everybody's the same. And as soon as you speak against them, you are labeled. Troy is the prime example. You've seen it. You've talked to him and shit. Troy is not what they say he is.
No.
And if you spent any time with him, you would know that.
Yep.
Like, it's not even close who he is when you talk to him versus
such a good guy.
Yeah, what they think that he is. I mean, you obviously have never talked to him, and he said that. Like, none of them ever reached out to him. Yeah. All right. Well, this has been an incredible talk. So if you guys want to subscribe, if you haven't already, which would be nuts, XpectoGO, his channel is in the description. Click the @ thing. It'll lead you right there.
And go subscribe if you haven't again. This guy,
subscribe to everybody. I mean, like, Retro Rack and Tour. We've talked. Benjamin Snow. He's a hard guy to get, but he's a very talented individual. Yes, he's here. Hey, he's Benjamin. Here. No, let me just say this, Benjamin. Open up something so I can message you because I've wanted to talk to you for a while and I can't get to you. So I just want to throw that out there to Benjamin. No, I mean, this has been awesome. I'm so glad, by the way. Thank you so much for coming. And truly, I want to do this more. We're going to try to have different people. We're going to try to bring people together on both channels, on all this stuff. So amazing group of, just to throw you in there, like an amazing group of creators cover this game. Amazing. People that know more about the world than I do. I'm more of the game techie thing. Everybody else is the lore, which I'm okay with. But any last words you want to say?
Yes. Everybody's saying we have to do a pirouette.
Oh yeah. Well, you do it. Can I watch you?
I'll do it. But before we get out of here, again, thanks Alex for having me on.
Of course.
Again, I watch everybody. I get recommended by Wife Wants a Wizard. Other people like on my recommendations. I was like, who? Okay, we're talking about the same thing. Let's see their angle. Yeah. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And that's what's so cool about this community. There's like everybody's rooting for everybody to succeed because everybody wants this game to succeed at the end of the day. And we're all fans. And we all enjoy talking about it. Like, that's the thing. Like, we've been talking about a game that has not come out for almost 2 years. Some of you guys been talking about it for longer than that, Yeah. And so it's just cool to find a community where you can get nerdy and like just talk about this game. And so thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to more stuff like this, and I can't wait to see who your next guest is and go from there. But yeah, I'm gonna do a pirouette and then
do it.
I'll let you close it out. Oh my gosh.
Make sure you guys are subscribed. You guys are approaching 10K, so I mean, you gotta get them there. I love his background.
Okay. All right, here we go.
0% chance I have that kind of balance, so I'll pass. But that was epic. Oh man. Well, thank you all.
Thank you guys.
I said I love your background. I said you're close to 10K, so get them there. And I said I don't have the balance to do what you just did, so I'm gonna pass on it. But no, I subscribe to everybody in the community. We're going to get more people. We're going to come back with XpectoGO, and that's pretty much it. So thank you to all of you guys. We do this because this kind of caught fire for me. I mean, I didn't think Hogwarts was just a game I covered, and it just happened. Because like you said, like, did you go numb to it? I was numb in the beginning, where it's like it was just another leak, just another game, because I cover like a leak a day. It was just another game leak. I'm passionate. I love Harry Potter. And then it caught, and it's like, well, I'm passionate about it. The community is more into it than normal games, so let's just run with it. And it, you know what I mean? That's how I literally got here. So I'm sure that kind of happened with everybody. You kind of catch, the wind with it, and you just go.
Ride the wave.
Right, exactly. All right, guys, thank you for watching. We will be back very soon with more guests. We'll try to get everybody together, and we will see you all on the next one.
Peace.